The wheel weaves as it will, and the Dragon Reviewed is reborn, back for episode 6 of The Wheel of Time Season 2. Last week we covered 5, 4 before that, and the 3 before that. And once again, I am here, Cam, with Christine and Kel Malone. How you guys doing?
It's Friday.
I know, it's Friday.
It is Friday. Yeah, we're recording Friday. Recently we've been recording Saturday, which is because I'm usually busy on a Friday night, and we won't get into that story because we just talked about it. But anyway, if this is the first time you're watching this, Kel, tell us why the people should check out basically the GenreVerse.
The GenreVerse has a lot of good stuff on it, guys. I mean, you know, anime reactions, Star Wars reviews and news, Daily Cog, Breaking Geek, bringing you podcasts and reviews from anything and everything you can imagine in geek and pop culture entertainment. Check out if it's not a reaction video, all of our podcasts, including this one, are up on your favorite podcast app, so you can take us on the go and give us a listen. We got merch, link in the description box, Redbubble down below, cute anime girl freaking symbols for our logos for all the podcasts and the channel itself, and of course lrmonline.com every day for all written news, reviews like Cam's Wheel of Time written reviews, and of course the celebrity interviews from the LRM YouTube channel.
Thank you. So episode 6, we are full spoilers for this. We're not going to do any non-spoiler stuff, just so that you know that going forward if this is your first time watching us. So let's just start with some thoughts and grades. We always tend to start with Christine, so we'll do it again.
Okay.
Christine. Sorry, I'm lulling you.
I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I'd give it an A-.
Okay.
It was good. Of course, there's certain things that I would find frustrating, but I guess maybe it's just like my own bias, because like Egwene, like, just pour the cup. It doesn't, like, pour the water in the cup. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I don't feel subjugated doing that. It's like, I'm going to find my in, it's stuff like that. Or the showing of Egwene to Rand, or it's just like, what are you building at? I don't know. Maybe I'm just frustrated.
All right.
But yes,
cool.
A-.
We'll talk about that a little bit. I think I could explain a little bit more about sort of one aspect of that. Obviously not what Rand thing and what's going to happen in the future, but just maybe a little bit about sort of the whole container and how that works. But Kel, what about you?
I think I'm in there with the A- as well. Could potentially even push its way to an A, depending on how the rest of the kind of season goes and the like follow-up stuff to some of this. Nothing too much to complain about. Their usage of their volume or green screen effects, whatever it is that they're doing, it worked better for the dream world because you can expect it to look a little, uncanny, if you will, or surreal, however you want to word it. But other times still, it's like, whatever. The torture and stuff's all very uncomfortable, which is a good thing because it means that they did their job at portraying it. So yeah, I think a good A- is my grade.
So I went with an A, and bear in mind that I think I was A+ last week, so this is a kind of drop down for me. And I guess the only slight frustration from my point of view, because I really enjoyed the episode and I mostly have just great things to say about it, but I think the slight frustration is that it could have maybe been the best episode of the series, and there was a couple of little niggles that just kind of brought me back from that. But what I don't know if they're book fan niggles and whether they had any of. So I guess when we get to that point, I'll ask you guys what you think. And maybe it doesn't come across that way to you. It is interesting in terms of the reaction online to this one. I don't know if you've seen any of that. I guess you wouldn't.
We don't want spoilers, so we're
things.
Like, scared.
I get that. So it's like, whereas I'm kind of, I can go ahead and browse and just see what people are saying. But this is the first episode where I think a lot of the bigger sort of media outlets are picking it up and praising it specifically as an episode. It seems almost like it's a bit of a zeitgeist moment where people realised that this story is actually a bit deeper than what we thought it was. because we don't know how the story goes ourselves, so we kind of didn't realise there was this level of grit in there. Not quite in the level of sort of Game of Thrones, but I think there's a build of something that I can see. And I'm also seeing there's some places where there are some traditional sort of book clubs that just hate, the people that just hate anything but one-to-one adaptations, and if you change something, they're like,
it's got to be panel.
This is criminal.
Panel to screen, page to screen.
And, those people are always going to be negative about adaptations. But last week and this week, I'm actually seeing some people in some of those kind of specific places, which I don't normally follow, I have to be honest, but I kind of dropped by and they're saying, do you know what? I'm actually enjoying this. There seems to be an actual change of kind of pattern. So anyway.
That's good.
Is there any way you kind of want to start in terms of talking about our goods?
On the good side, I think the stuff between Lanfear, whatever.
Correct.
And Rand, I think that is it feels better now. That we're kind of like in full we're in full evil mode. We're not quite sure of her full intentions. We know that she and Ishmael are definitely like at each other, and that she's beholden to the past version of Rand, Luce Theron. Yeah, there you go. Luce Theron. There it is. Someone mentioned in the comments that name, had a quote on last week's episode. We didn't get it until this week, or at least didn't know the name until they mentioned it this week.
You met him briefly in season 1 with that cold open set in the past that was actually looked futuristic, if you remember. That is the original dragon.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. It was a Swedish actor that played him.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it escapes me at the moment because I don't know my Swedish actors that well.
Yeah.
But
it's all good. Yeah, I remember that now. So I think that feels better. The stuff with Egwene was great in that it's awful and it's portrayed well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And bravo to the actress playing her, because her breaking crying was pretty. It is really hard to fake certain types of cries, and pain is one of the hardest. Like, especially if you've ever experienced or heard someone experience true painful crying, like you've seen someone be told the loss of their child, someone's lost their spouse, stuff dealing with war and people on the verge of self-elimination and things like if you've ever heard any of those and then you see them portrayed on film and screen, you're like, yeah, you don't quite get it. She comes pretty damn close as you like, where you're wondering what she might be channeling, kind of like John Bernthal in The Punisher.
Yeah,
his animalistic, like his rage. His rage
that
is like scary
from him.
That did very good.
And I agree with you. I wasn't sure about Madeline McCann as Egwene so far, to be honest. It kind of all the main cast. I was like, but Egwene hasn't really got to do anything yet, has she? When you think about it, across the kind of
that's true.
The tent,
she gets
with
to the tower,
white
she does
people,
what she's told.
White robes.
That was the only time the white cloaks. Yeah,
the white
cloaks.
But it's funny because I said the white people. The main guy in the white clothes is a black dude.
Of course. Yeah. That's right.
Go ahead, sorry.
But I knew what you meant. That's okay. White cloaks. That was the kind of most interesting thing that she had to do. And then other than that, she's kind of almost just there as Rand's love interest. And actually, there's a hell of a lot more to Egwene than that. And this is the first time that I think we really get to see her, because she's broken down completely, to as low really as someone can get. And that's great for somebody's character development, because we get to see what happens after that as well,
Because, she comes from a place where there's not a lot of bad things going on. So, she is soft, but she's stubborn. So you can see that in there. She doesn't have a long history of...
The character trait that we're learning is her stubbornness, because it's hard to kind of show that this is almost lifted word for word from the books, by the way, the whole training scene with her as a demand. the jug, everything, right? And that's what really worked for me. But in the books, of course, you hear everything that's going on in Egwene's head as she experiences this, and that's really hard to convey on film in the same way. So we don't maybe almost get the full impact that we kind of do from the books. And that's where I was saying, like, maybe I can explain a little bit more about some of the stuff that's going on there and why it's so hard for her. But I think what they did well to try and show something was that how good she actually was at resisting it, how stubborn she was, by showing the blue sitter in the cell next door and her saying that she lasted a hell of a lot longer than she did. And she's supposed to be a senior, trained, seasoned Aes Sedai, and Egwene still lasted longer than her.
She called herself a sitter. That's one of the, she would have been one of the blues in the room.
One of the leaders,
Yeah, in the room when the Amelin, whatever the hell, Queen Lady is there. Got it.
Yeah. So I should probably explain a little bit more about what I meant. So, like, you talked about the jug thing, Christine. So the way the Adam works is, it's not so much that she said to herself, right, just don't try and hit her with the jug and then she could pour it. It's she has to be almost broken already before she can do that. It's the fact that she still feels that she can escape. She's still looking for a way out, right?
Okay, yeah, so it can take all of that in.
To be able to pick up that jug, she kind of has to admit to herself that she's stuck there and that this is the end. And that's why it's such a kind of good device for, and why it's been used probably for countless generations as a way to break these people. Do you know what I mean?
I had wondered a bit before we go on wherever else, good or bad or whatnot, but I had wondered, like, what are the limitations here? And of course, I'm thinking, okay, if it's about intent, what if I don't look at it as a weapon and I look at it as a key, and this lady is the lock? What can I convince myself that this is a key? But if it's based on the feeling of hopelessness, then that would be a lot harder to get to. So
I mean, they never describe it specifically in the books, I don't think, but from Aegon's point of view and how she has to view it, that's where I'm getting that from, how she experiences that in the books.
That's important.
Yeah, because she kept saying, you can't hurt me with it. It's like, I don't want to hurt you with it. I want to know what else is going on out there.
Yeah, can I convince myself?
Like, what if you could just play along? And it doesn't seem like that works, because you would think all the Aes Sedai would try. That they're smart people, they've lived for hundreds of years, you know what I mean? They're all very intelligent, and and ultimately this maybe comes into a bit of Robert Jordan as well, because I don't know if you know this, but Jordan was a vet, so he was in Vietnam, and he often talked about how he kind of had to murder the person that he was and leave him stashed in a jungle somewhere back in Vietnam, because that guy couldn't function in a normal society. He had to kill him, leave him behind, and become someone else when he came home, because that guy was a killer, you know what I mean, and a ruthless son of a bitch, and all that sort of stuff. And a lot of that comes into his writing, so that although it might seem like all high fantasy, there's like grittiness there of it.
Yeah, one second, Cam. Sorry, he's down there having a ball. So go ahead.
But yeah, you were talking about him having to kill his former self.
Yeah. And it affects it.
And that,
I mean, I get it.
Is in his writing. There's a lot of that in it. I think he understands like real torment and possibly torture and all these kind of things, you know what I mean? So I think this is a guy with a lot of experiences, and almost like Tolkien's World War I experience influenced his books. His Jordan's Vietnam experience and what the world was like at that time kind of influenced his books a lot, I think,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it was all done very well. I think having the other Aes Sedai sitting there next to her was great. Yeah, it all worked. It all worked fine. I liked I like the stuff going on with Moiraine still, with the sister and the nephew, and it was cool to see. And it might sound lame, but it was cool to see that, you know, it literally is just a nephew who's truly happy, at least from what we can tell, was truly happy his aunt was back, and was heartbroken that she gave no shits about him. It's funny to see, or not funny, but, you know, it's fun to see in a enjoying the story sense, to see her lash out and be like, bitch, you can't take this house. It's properly mine too. You guys are lucky to be.
It's a little
like,
burst of emotion in there, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
You know what
it's
I mean?
showing
Which is
just
a bit nice that I like.
How out of control she actually is, and how desperate for control she is. So bravo on that stuff. And then angry mommy, like mommy coming in there, you know what? You hurt my boy. No, get the hell out. Pack your bags and leave. That was fun.
I did like the growing moment too with the nephew, for Moiraine, because it's really hard to do, especially when you're like so stuck in your ways and you're so used to being in charge, and then having to be like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna back down. Humbling experience. So yeah, she needed
it's
at
not
least one of
something
those.
the Aes Sedai do very well, is be humble and let other people take control. And, you know, and she's one of the most Aes Sedai of them all, shall we say, you know, and she can't channel at the moment, and that is all going on in the back of her head as well, and that's kind of messing her up. So you see these little glimpses of emotion, and then it's good acting from Rosamund Pike, because she straightens herself and you see her get that Aes Sedai resolve back again before she kind of finishes the scene, if you like.
Yeah. And trying to write the letter, which I guess is probably to her lover that she used that window mirror thing for, is good to show like her mindset and stuff like that. And we kind of got an answer to my whole, you know, Lan and going to the White Tower thing. They just kind of delayed the trip. And then on the way there, he was going to leave, and we see, you know, the whole other path, and hey, here comes Queen Bee knocking on the sister's door. I demand to see Moiraine.
The storylines I had a bit of an issue with, to be honest.
Really? Okay.
You know,
why is that?
I just don't really understand what they're doing with like Lan.
They don't know what to do with him.
Exactly. That's what I feel. Lan and Moiraine's story is different from what it is in the books. I like what they're doing with Moiraine's story. I kind of feel like Lan's being the one that they've worked everybody else's stories about, and they kind of just don't know what to do with Lan, so they need him to get from A to B, so they're just giving him scenarios to go through.
He's playing
I really
got
annoyed at kind of like, see when they thought he was are you a dark friend? I just thought, and I think most book fans from me, come on, Lan, a dark friend, give it's
a messy situation.
Yeah, same
Absolutely.
thing. And where it's just like, I think they just kind of like let it out with that question, are you a dark friend, to where it's like, you need to get your crap together. It's like, stop holding stuff back, open up. The wording could have been better, but it was just more like, you act fishy, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And we don't want to fix this problem. We want you to fix this problem. You know, because we can fix it, you're just not going to like it.
He arrives exactly where the Amyrlin seat is, and he's like, mother, I need to speak to you. And that was one of my other issues I had, was the fast travel that seems to happen a lot in this episode. And I don't know how much you guys feel it's noticeable, but like Leandrin was in Hamelin, which is right next to Tavalon, when Lanfear basically kills her son, which was quite a brutal scene, and I actually really liked that. She's just an evil bitch. She's so cool. And then, like, 2 scenes later, she's in Cairn, and the Amyrlins called them all. Like, that's quite the distance to get in a couple of days. And we know it's only a couple of days because we're following what happens with Egwene day after day after day, and then fucking to the other people. So
I figured they were taking some magic stuff that, I don't know. I figured they're trying to bend some rules, and I don't know the geography, so I don't know the distances themselves.
We've seen them do it before when they take the ways. And I wonder whether you guys maybe thought they were taking the ways all these times.
But I know there's rules and
really
limits, and they don't.
That,
it's not so simple. But I was.
Renton's doing that because she's a bad guy, and she receive an HML's guarantee that she won't be kind of attacked when she's going through there, which she can only guarantee so much, I guess. But I don't know. I just, I wish they, in some ways, I think, do you feel like you understand where everything is at this point? They haven't shown a single map in this series, have they?
No.
So you have no concept of the distances between, Karen and Falma or anything like that. And I think that might cause a problem because, there's going to come points where they have to get places fast and they have to use things like the ways that you've seen already. And we wouldn't understand why when in a previous episode they just went from there to there and one horseback, and it's almost as if every city's just right next to each other in a tiny little place. It's like we're in Scotland, my tiny little country, and everything's just right next to each other. It's just over the next valley.
You know what it is? This season we haven't gotten enough walking. See, season 1 we got a lot of walking, which made it feel far apart. And this season we haven't gotten any.
And it's
walking.
Been a better season for not having all that walking. Don't get me wrong, but I just wish there was some way. I don't know what the answer is. That's the thing. I don't know what the answer is to fix it. And
Tolkien's watching from across the shore. You don't like walking?
It's not going to. I hate this series because of this, but it just. If I notice it, it's too much.
Yeah, that's where the Game of Thrones intro always was very helpful.
Yeah,
because it's like I have no idea, but then with that, it's easier.
And Rings of Power, as much as didn't like Rings of Power, remember they would get those maps and put them over so you kind of had an idea what was happening, but we've not had anything like that in real time so far.
Even though the lands are a little different in Rings of Power, you still know a little bit if you've seen Lord of the Rings.
Classic map, and,
you know some things, and there's vast distances. So,
any gripes you guys had really other than anything that you've said already?
I don't know about gripes on this one, but it was like a good thing because it was going to be a gripe. With Rand leaving, it's like it's a trap. I don't know what the trap is, but it's like someone stop him, and then it stopped. But yeah, I'm glad the friend
couldn't in the end couldn't go with him, even though because of what Min had said and stuff like that as well. And I really don't know where they're going with all that.
I was going to say
it's going to be slightly different from the books.
It throws a wrench in what Ishmael and them were trying to do, and it wasn't like she had to do a lot. I mean, even if she didn't really nudge too much, he was going to probably end up.
All she had to do was nothing. But is that because the pattern's pushing them together because they need to be together, or is it actually, as what she's done averted things? I genuinely will have to wait and see how they decide.
I don't know.
To kind of play that out.
It is nice to see Matt, love his friends so much where he's like, I'm going to have to hurt you so that you live.
I won't go.
Yeah.
On the off chance, I won't go.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah. I don't think I had too many gripes. It's just one of those that was like, little odds and ends, some CG, some things that were just kind of like, you're not A+ material, but nothing too bad. It's a hard episode in some ways, and I mean, I've seen way worse, guys. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over this episode, and that's not to say that they didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
They weren't gratuitous, which is great.
But you don't enjoy it as a spectacle.
Yeah. And again, no one hates women more than other women. They're sure showing that in this series, man. It's insane. It's a good show though. It really is. And
those bad Americans with all
left,
the American accents coming over and sort of slaving people. You notice that all the Sanshan have got American accents.
No, I didn't even pay attention to that.
Pay attention next time. What you think might happen at the end of this season, or to any specific characters? Is Egwene going to get rescued anytime soon? Is she going to be stuck like that for a while? What's going to happen to Nin?
I don't think she'll be stuck like that for a long while, but I think she isn't going to get out of there quick. I think she's going to be there for a little while longer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like I don't think it's a next episode thing. Maybe the rescue attempt starts next episode, but Definitely, I don't think it's over. I still don't know if Leandrin will make a last-minute ditch for the light or not.
I think she's screwed. There's so many people that can smell her bullshit, and it's just like, God, it's like, girl, you're not even trying to act.
Yeah,
what is wrong with you?
It's starting to become a bit more. It seems as if she's digging a hole for herself at this point, doesn't she? A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, but I'm wondering if Moiraine will be able to work this as a way to get the one power back, to be allowed to connect back to it because of what's going on, a situation or some ace up her sleeve. But yeah, I don't know. This was one of those episodes that didn't necessarily lend itself to a lot of theorizing. It was like, no, you will witness this horribleness.
Yeah, for me, it is going to be a theory like on how bad Egwene is going to be after all of this. I think it's going to take a really long time to recover. I think a lot more bad is going to happen. And I'm kind of, it's like I want to see, but it's like I also don't want to see, because it's like, oh, girl, it's going to be painful.
That's kind of the best way for it to be, though, isn't it? Sometimes, you know what I mean? If you want to kind of see what happens next week. But, often with these things, there can be positive moments as well sometimes. And if there are positive moments that happen and they've been really dark beforehand, then they feel more positive sometimes. So, there's going to be any good stories like a roller coaster, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And hopefully next time we get Perrin.
Sure we will Perrin this week. They seem to struggle to get everybody into the one episode, which is fair enough when they've got so many characters, I guess.
They're doing an all right job of blending it all together.
Yes.
I'm good. You good?
Yes.
Just one quickie theory about Leandrin for any book readers that's following that. I think she might take the role of a character called Galena. This means nothing to you guys later on in the books. I think they might amalgamate her so that they can keep using her longer throughout the series in different ways. And I think there might be a few book readers thinking that, going, oh, that could be quite interesting, because I think that could work. But yeah, nothing for you guys to worry about at the moment. If that's us, then that's us. You've got our grades, you've got what we thought. We're all pretty happy, as we've been really throughout everything that's happened in season 2 so far. We'll be back to cover episode 7 next week, hopefully on Friday again. Thank you very much for watching. Tune in next time.